right, it's go time. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I am so happy to be with you. We are going to discuss so many different things that are happening. There's, I think, was it Fintech Week in DC right now? I've got a great clip from Michael Barr talking about CBDCs and adoption. I'm also going to go through some crypto and AI stuff with you. I got your typical Ripple and XRP news because I'm a big fan of that. And so much more. We are going to discuss so many different things. Let me go ahead and mute my laptop here so it doesn't come through with a weird sound. But it's great to see all of you. Just want to say what's up, Jack. Thank you for being here first. I do appreciate you. MMT, it's always an honor to see you. Zelf, great to see you. Crypto enthusiast, let's do it. Have a good day, everyone. Great to see you. And everyone that joins, welcome. All right, so let's get into it. Let's just jump right into it. I am going to go through a couple different things with you before I get into some of this news. So let's just look at the market and see where we are, and we'll go from there. I got my chat pulled up on my right-hand side here. What's up, Crypto Cell? What's up, Swen? Great to see you guys. All right, so Bitcoin. Oh, wait, what am I doing here? All right, let me go back to this. I don't even, here. Let's go back to number one. All right. Damn, Terra Luna Classic still in the top 100. That's crazy. All right, so Bitcoin 35,400. We are in this area of we're not sure what we want to do. We don't know if the the ETFs are coming, and people are. Let's be honest, people. A lot of people are saying, "Hey, we're getting into a bull market." I think there's still a lot of scared money sitting on the sidelines. Let's be honest, right? We're at 1.34 trillion. We had a high of 3 trillion back in the day. I'd say that a large part of the market still has yet to come back. So I think a lot of people are waiting for this ETF buzz to really kind of come and kick in. And when that takes place, I think we will see some fireworks in the crypto space. But until that happens, we still are going to get this uncertainty, in my opinion. And, there are some great gains to be made out here. I mean, it's just been kind of crazy the last 45 to 60 days inside of Cryptonairz. You just want a big shout out to my community. I spend most of my time there. I do have a free Telegram channel where I try to answer questions, but most of my time is spent inside the Cryptonairz Discord, just talking with the community and just trying to work together. And it's if you attack the crypto market by yourself, it is a very, very, very big challenge. But if you attack it with a couple hundred other people, then that challenge becomes less of a hill to climb. Then it's more of like a slight jog up a mild hill, right? So it's always good to, find a place where you fit in, find a place where you can get good information and deal with really amazing people here in the space. That's Cryptonairz, great. If that's another place that you find that you're getting the benefit of that, just understand it helps when you're working together, okay? All right, I will shut up about that. Ethereum, look at this, top almost to $1,900. I hate to say this, but I do think Ethereum is you're probably gonna see $5,000, $6,000, probably $7,000 Ethereum in the next bull market, right? Ethereum had a high already in the last bull market of $4,700, so it just makes sense that it would do this. Now, the things that I worry about with Ethereum are, like people like Steven Narioff. That dude is on a mission, right? He felt he was attacked by the government as well as, Ethereum itself, Vitalik and Joseph Lubin. And so that guy's on a mission to right some wrongs out here. And I don't know what that will do, if anything, depending on what he brings forward. So that's the only thing I worry about with Ethereum. Other than that, the staking is kind of getting, I've heard there's a lot of, since they've lowered the validation and the amount that you need to stake, I heard there's a lot of oversaturation. And so we'll just have to see how Ethereum performs, once NFTs start to come back and CryptoKitties becomes a thing again. I don't really know. I don't partake too much stuff on Ethereum. But hey, if it's good for the market, whatever. All right. XRP 68 cents, guys. This is what we do at the end of the year here when we have a swell. This is called the swell pump. The Swell event is going to start, I think, tomorrow. And so you always get this nice little pump here. Now, what's going to happen after Swell? Well, you usually get a dump, depending on what the news is, right? There's supposed to be a lot of big announcements. So we're going to see how that affects the price, right? We're sitting at a $36 billion market cap. Just remember, guys, it's going to take a lot of money to come in to really double this and send this over $1. So just want to keep that on your forefront and what's happening around those tokens. And we're going to talk about I got a couple of crypto and AI gaming projects that we've been talking about in Cryptonairz. I brought about 3 or 4 of them. We put together a list of about 20 of them recently, and I brought 3 or 4 of them over to you guys so I can share those with you. But I really like Immutable X too. Immutable X has got a really great big ecosystem full of builders, a lot of things happening on Immutable. That's definitely worth something to check out. I do think this is going to be very successful, sitting at $1 billion market cap. All right. So I do have a masterclass that I've put together. It's about eight or 9 modules long. This kind of covers, your white paper, your team, researching cryptos, just some stuff that I put together to try to help you, sharpen your skills out here. Maybe there's some things that I have thought of that you haven't thought of to do when you're looking and researching a crypto project. So this is a great opportunity to get this class for free. It's being edited right now, and to be totally honest, I finished the edits. I finished finding the course, filming the course yesterday, and there's 4 videos on a memory card that is somewhere in my house. I have to find the memory card. I was panic searching for 30 minutes today. I've yet to find it. So I might have to reshoot that. But if you guys want to get involved, if you want that free course, feel free to sign up. I just need your name and an email, and we'll go ahead and email that out when that is edited. Realistically, if I can find the card tonight, it'll be easy peasy putting that together for you. And then Cass will need to edit it, of course. So maybe like next week. If I need to reshoot it, I'll reshoot it tomorrow. And hopefully it'll be next week. All right, so let's keep it going with this. All right, so here you go. Loading Ripple Swell. I just thought this was cool. 20-second clip. Let me play this, and we'll move on. Good to see you, Malsaber. What's up, Valtiv? I probably messed up your name. I do apologize. I do that every week. You need to DM me and tell me how to pronounce your name so I do it right next time, okay? Jordan Kelly, got it. Good to see you. Is that Irish? Man, I might need glasses here soon. Alt Meme Factory greetings. Hello, good to see you. Morton, great to see you. Sab, great to see you. Thank you. Welcome. Eric, I am XRP. We are all XRP, my friend. All right, I do have a sponsor for the channel. It is Glint. When it comes to sponsors, I am very particular about what I put in front of you guys. And I really kind of have to believe in what I'm putting in front of you guys in order for me to want to accept it. I get emails every single day about promotions on the channel, and I believe in gold. So this was kind of an easy one. Glint is actually really, really cool. So you download the Glint app, and you can actually use your debit, ATM card, credit card, whatever you want to buy digital gold, which is really cool. And they store it in a vault. Well, let me just kind of go through a little bit about Glint really quickly. I want to do them justice, not just kind of leave you with that, but leading the movement in global payments revolution, our vision, Glint believes in financial fairness for all. We envision a world where everyone is equal opportunity to prosper. Glint was invented to liberate everyone from our current monetary system. Glint offers an alternative to fiat currencies. And it says our mission, we're on a mission to provide the world with a reliable form of money, paving the way for our clients to have greater control and monetary freedom. And it does talk a little bit about their investors. I'm really not going to get into the investors. They do have some really bright minds behind Glint, and you've seen Glint on probably a bunch of other crypto channels that you watch, but I like what they're doing, and to be able to hold gold in a digital form, I really like it. Right, direct ownership. Some banks loan gold to make money. Cryptocurrencies backed by gold are digital token that are claimed on gold. and you don't own the gold directly, and exchange traded an ETF, a type of investment fund, basically saying that you own the gold directly. You're not trading it in a fund. Your gold is physical gold bullion that is legally allocated to you and stored in Brink's vaults in Switzerland. If anybody has the keys and the codes for this vault, please DM me. We will put a plan in action. There's probably a lot of gold in this vault. All right, your constructive possession of gold under law. For every ounce of gold held in your account, there's an ounce of physical gold owned in the vault. So this is really cool, guys. It's backed up, 1-to-1 with gold. There is a code that you guys can use, CS Crypto Sensei 50. This will give you 50% off vaulting fees for 12 months. So go take a look at the thing. Go take a look at their website, glintpay.com/US gold. You can download the app. Glint's all over. I was talking to Harry. They're out of the UK, so I know they're kind of everywhere. And this is actually a company I believe in, so it's actually pretty cool. So take a look. I don't want to spend any more time on this. Let's keep it going. All right, so Fintech DC Week is here. All right, Brian Brooks, he used to be the comptroller of currency in the United States. This is probably one of the brightest minds we have in the United States that used to be some type of regulator, right? We do have a few, and we do have a few terrible ones right now, but I wish that they would create the CFTC and the SEC need to come together and have a baby that will set crypto laws and adoption. And there needs to be kind of one that facilitates both security cryptos and commodity cryptos, okay? And I think Brian Brooks would probably be the perfect person for this, but Brian Brooks is going to tell you the biggest threat against crypto. This kind of shocked me, but it makes perfect sense. Let me have him break it down for you. I don't want to spoil anything. Check this out.
I think the biggest risk is slow adoption. I don't think there's a risk
slow
in the
adoption.
Underlying technology platforms. What it feels a lot like to me are the advent of smartphones or the advent of the commercial internet, even honestly like the advent of the CD player. Like, who's old enough to remember when you bought your first CD player for $999, And the risk was that you were the chump that was paying $999 like I did in 1985 for your first CD player. And 3 years later, you could buy that same CD player for $29. So there's a bit of like an early adopter issue. And I think what many of us have been waiting on for 5, 6, 7 years at this point is, when is crypto going to have its breakout moment, or this mass adoption moment? And I think Mike and I probably both believe that housing finance is as likely a candidate for that as anything else. And why? Because it's the largest market of any financial asset in the world. The U.S. housing financial market is the largest financial market in the world. So it's more likely that people will start doing that than anything else, and that will break open all of these possibilities. I will just say as an aside, there have been a couple of efforts to do this already. So when my friend Chris Giancarlo was the CEO or the board chair or whatever he was of Common Securitization Solutions, Chris is a long time, his book is called Crypto Dad. I mean, he was the CFTC chairman, the CSS chairman, but was a crypto guy who was very interested in the promise of public blockchains. And there was a moment when CSS and the agencies were really looking at the possibility of using blockchains as a securitization vehicle, which didn't quite get off the ground, and so it took Figure to try and launch this. I think this is a likely early adopter thing, but as long as it remains a niche crypto native activity, it will be expensive. It'll be seen as risky. We have to overcome that. This is the CD player, okay? Yes, your cassette tapes are super awesome, but just get over it.
All right, I love Brian Brooks, and he's right? Adoption is something that has taken quite some time, and that is because regulators really have not got on board. We are seeing more and more regulators getting on board across the world. Here in the United States, it is still pretty slim pickings. I do not know when Congress is going to get their act together and pass certain regulation. I think, when they're going to? It's going to be when everything is falling apart and when they actually have to pass it. And that is a terrible way to govern, but that's how we live in the United States. Doesn't matter if you're on either side of the aisle. The infrastructure of the United States is currently falling apart, bridges, roads, things like that. So they finally passed an infrastructure bill, but it took like 20 years to do it. And every president, said that they were going to pass this bill, and they never did. And, it's just, it's something that needs to get done. So the digital dollar may pose significant risk, as Fed Governor Bowman says. I want to just show you this. Michelle Bowman actually gave a speech, and this was on October 17th of last month. So this is about, what, 3 weeks old? And she gave some pretty interesting highlights of what she feels, what she's worried about with central bank digital currency in the United States. And I think this kind of gives you a good understanding of where the Fed, the Board of Governors, actually sits, and where CBDC adoption is in the United States right now, which is kind of nowhere. They've done some testing, Project Cedar, Project Ubin. So I don't think, they're kind of, just kind of sitting on their hands. But let me just kind of read you this really quickly. All right, so she says, FedNow and a similar private sector service is designed to help make everyday payments faster and more convenient, allowing customers to instantly receive funds within same day and enabling small businesses to more efficiently manage cash flows without processing delays. Future innovations may further build upon the services, more effectively address payment system frictions and financial inclusion. It is quite possible that other proposed solutions may address many or all of the problems that a CBDC would address, but in a more effective way. Furthermore, the potential benefits of a US CBDC remain unclear, okay? Check this out. I mean, she is on the Board of Governors, board members of the Federal Reserve. So she's kind of telling you what they're thinking right now, right? So let me just read this to you some more. Remains unclear. And the introduction of a US CBDC could pose significant risks and trade-offs for the financial system. These risks and trade-offs include potential unmitigated consequences for the U.S. banking system and considerable consumer privacy concerns. The U.S. banking system is a mature, well-functioning, and effective system that delivers important benefits to our economy. Well, I mean, isn't that what she has to say? Within this system, banks play a number of important roles, including providing customers with access to credit and other banking and payment services, all within an establishing regulatory perimeter. Guys, that's how money gets created, right? People go to the bank for a personal loan, to go to school, for home, right? As people go to the bank and gets loans, the banks borrow the money from the Fed. The money is created into the economy, and that is how the economy grows. If you're not creating loans into the economy, banks are not collecting that interest that they would be collecting, and that really does hurt the banks in the end of things, right? In addition, bank compliance and reporting programs support important public policies like determining criminal activity and protecting customer financial data. Banks also play an essential role in the transmission of monetary policy and provide the foundation for a well-functioning economy and financial systems. The U.S. intermediate banking model helps to insulate consumer financial activities from unnecessary government overreach, and I believe this is the appropriate model for the future of financial innovation. If not properly designed, a CBDC could disrupt the banking system and lead to a disintermediation, politically harming customers and businesses and presenting broader financial stability risks. So as you can see, they are taking it pretty seriously. They're weighing all the costs, the benefits. And the question I have for you is, if they do decide to go on with a CBDC, we obviously understand that it's probably going to be a technology that has already been tested and has already been provided for many, many years, right? They're not just going to create something new and they're like, hey, we're just going to go ahead and try this out. They're probably going to want to build something, on like a private ledger of the XRP ledger, or, using quant in some way. But just understand they're going to be selecting a technology that has been battle tested. So let's keep it going here. Let's keep it going. I just wanted to point out one thing here too, guys. And I know if you've been in the space a while, and if you've been following me, you know all about this, right? The U.S. path to faster payments, the final report, part 1, the faster payments approach. This is put on by the Federal Reserve. And let me just show you here. Ripple is one of the people. Ryan Zagone, Ripple is one of the companies. You can also see a bunch of different banks. Walmart's on here. Wingcash LLC. I don't know what Wingcash is, but, American National Bank and Trust, a lot of different, BNY Mellon's on here, a lot of different players on here, Citibank, But they've been testing this technology for a long time, right? They've been testing it for a very long time. Ripple's been working with the government in the United States for a very long time. And so you just wonder if maybe that's the decision they're going to make sooner or later. We hope, right? That would be a really great thing. All right. Let me just go here. So former crypto advisor Michael Barr confirmed as top U.S. financial watchdog. So I just want to show you this too. I know you guys probably know this, but Michael Barr here used to be an advisor at Ripple. Now he's the vice chair of the supervision of board of governors for the financial reserve system. So he got into office July 19, 2022 for a 4-year term. Okay. So he's actually been, doing a lot of conversations. I have a clip from him here in just a second, which I think is right here. Yep, perfect. I lined that up perfectly. All right. So he's at DC Fintech Week, and he's going to talk to you about CBDCs in the United States, payment infrastructures, and trust. Check this out.
It's one of those issues that I've always found, even in the media, like it's worth a little bit of attention. I think. Let
me turn this up a bit.
Super important. Other issues that have attracted plenty of attention involves CBDCs and stablecoins, and really where the Fed is at this point in time at kind of thinking through the place.
That should be up a little bit.
I should say stablecoins, stablecoins, and tokenized deposits, each different in their own ways. But maybe I'll just start off with the CBDC stablecoin question, and then maybe an extra question or two on the tokenized deposits. Where are you in your thinking right now?
Well, let me take on the question of stablecoins first.
Sure.
So there's obviously a lot of innovation happening in the private sector around stablecoins, and we want to make sure we can harness that innovation to improve efficiencies, if we can, in the payment system. I do think that if a private sector entity is creating a stablecoin that is connected to a fiat currency, in the case that we care about, the United States dollar, they're creating a form of private money. And private money needs to be well regulated. Private money, we've seen many examples throughout history, can cause significant risks in the financial system. And private money that's linked to the dollar basically borrows the trust of the Federal Reserve in its issuance. So we think there's a very strong interest in having strong federal regulation of stablecoins that makes sure that the Federal Reserve can approve stablecoin issuers, can regulate stablecoin issuers, can enforce against stablecoin issuers, and the set of protections around that, including how you deal with wallets and making sure that they're safe and sound. All of that, I think we need a strong federal framework for, and we don't have one of those yet.
So you really do need the Fed, the Congress to establish that. In an absence, that there's a limited amount of things that the Fed can do, or is it just a kind of a stopgap?
We think, I would just say, as a policy matter, it's better if the Congress can decide the basic rules of the road. Yeah. Now, on central bank digital currency, there also is a lot of innovation happening around in the world in that, and there are some countries who have moved forward with stablecoins, at least in a limited way. There are many countries who are involved in research and development, many countries thinking about the policy framework. At the Federal Reserve, we're also taking a look at central bank digital currency. We're very focused on research questions. We haven't made a decision about whether it would be a good idea or not a good idea to establish this or that approach to central bank digital currency. If we did decide it made sense to do, for example, a retail central bank digital currency, we would only do that if Congress and the executive branch clearly authorized us to do that step with respect to retail CBDC. And in the meanwhile, we're doing research, and the research will help inform decision-making about what we might recommend, and also help think about what the right payments architecture and infrastructure we might need, whether we use a CBDC or don't use a CBDC. Research can help inform how we can improve the payments infrastructure overall.
I think one of the questions that some of the people either attending or watching may have is when you think about the Fed's infrastructure, and it was interesting, you were talking about like the borrowing off the reputation of the Fed. That's an interesting way of certainly thinking about it. There are also very direct ways in which people would like to build on top of Fed infrastructure. You see other countries who have moved in that direction. What kinds of principles guide your thinking in terms of how and under what circumstances to enable that, particularly sort of outside of the traditional banking system?
Well, let me just start by how I think about payments infrastructure in general and what principles are really important in it. For me at least, I think we want a payments infrastructure that promotes financial inclusion. We want a payments infrastructure that works for everybody, that works for low-income people as well as upper-income people, that serves small businesses and not just big businesses. So we want to make sure our infrastructure, is accessible to the real economy in that way. And we want to have an infrastructure that also works for the diversity of sizes and types of financial institutions in our country, from small community banks all the way up to the largest banks. So financial inclusion, diversity of approach, I think is really critical. Of course, we need a financial architecture, a payments architecture that is safe and secure and reliable. Those are absolutely essential. We need to make sure that the payments architecture has the right privacy protections so that people can trust using the system, because trust is really the essential linchpin of any payment system. Without trust, you can't make a payment, whatever technology you're using to underlie that basic approach. So these are the kinds of principles that I think are...
All right, what do you guys think about that clip? I mean, a lot was said there. It's hard to kind of go back and bullet point everything he said, but I don't think a lot of people have trust in what the Federal Reserve has been able to do these last couple years. It's money printing, and then it's raise rates until inflation comes down, and then lower rates to the floor as things break, and we just keep going through the same cycle. We're paying, the U.S. right now is paying $3 to $4 billion, $3 to $4 billion a day in interest on their debt right now. In a year or 2 or 3 years from now, what do you think that number is going to be? And how long can you keep? I mean, what happens when you're paying $10 billion a day in interest, right? And you're paying, trillions of dollars a year in interest when you're only bringing in $4 or $5 trillion a year in taxes. So eventually something is going to catastrophically break. And I think that's what a lot of people are pointing to, a financial reset. But if we get to a financial reset, that means that a lot of value that is in, people's retirement plans and homes and all of that stuff, that could go up in smoke. And how are those people compensated for their loss is really what I'm worried about, and what I think the conversation should be here, because that's where this is going. If you cannot create more tax revenue than you're spending, you are constantly needing to print more and more money. This is never going to lead to a solid system. And even if you revalued gold and brought back the gold system, the U.S. has about $600 billion in gold, about almost $34 trillion in debt. I mean, you could only do a very small percentage of the debt backed by gold. And I think back in 71, it got down to like 2%, 1 to 2%. Of what it was backed up by gold. But anyways, just kind of continuing here on the CBDC theme, because we had a lot of information. This was actually back in, I think this is, July 6, 2023. So it was several months ago. But listen to Luane Lim, CEO of HSBC Hong Kong, regarding virtual assets and CBDCs. The Monetary Authority of Singapore was working with the United States. I don't know what HSBC and Hong Kong are doing as far as in the background, but there are some other regulators like the MAS that have been working in the U.S. And I'm sure you have partners like Australia, the U.K. These guys are also having conversations about wanting to get on the same type of system, right? And when you have the UK really kind of pushing forward with quants technology and Ripple and their proof of concept that they did, and they've been working with Ripple for a long time, it really does start to wonder, hey, are all of America's partners, because Japan is really big on XRP too, right? And CBDC. So you start to wonder that, if they're all going to want to be on the exact same system, that would make the most sense to me. But let me just play this.
So Hong Kong is again at the forefront in areas like asset tokenization, digital currency, the internationalization of the renminbi. Tokenization, it has the potential to open a new chapter in financial services, making it faster, cheaper, more accessible to more people. So it's great to see HKMA leading the way earlier this year with its tokenized green bonds, and we're proud to be an arranger of the first ever issuance by a government globally. When it comes to currencies, we remain deeply engaged in the ongoing, debate over virtual assets, and we do support the government's outreach to virtual asset service providers. But in the long term, we believe it will be central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, that will trigger the real revolution. They offer the flexibility and speed of virtual assets, but with added security and diminished KYC risks. China has thought longer and harder than almost any other country that I know about how CBDCs are going to work. And that's likely to translate into a formidable first mover advantage when it does go international. Now, thanks to the hard work of Eddie and the HKMA, Hong Kong is already at the cutting edge of CBDC internationalization. At HSBC, we're proud to have been taken part in a pilot last year by the Bank for International Settlements involving the HKMA, the PBOC, the central banks of Thailand and the UAE. So I think this is an area that we really need to watch closely, and will bring significant change to how our financial sectors work. Lastly, the internationalization of renminbi. It will take time. The use of renminbi in global trade finance remains low, but it has shown steady increases. In March this year, the renminbi was the most widely used currency for cross-border transactions in China for the first time ever. So for those of you who think that the world would benefit from a greater choice when it comes to settlement and reserve currencies, if you want to be on the ground floor, you need to be in Hong Kong. Around 75% of all offshore renminbi payments are processed here. This city is the focus of the PBOC's drive to use digital renminbi to make cross-border trade more efficient. And initiatives like the recently launched dual counter in Hong Kong are opening the door for even more renminbi denominated products to be traded here.
It does look like China has taken a big step in the right direction as far as working on different CBDCs, right? They have the digital yuan, digital renminbi is what they're working on here. It's just interesting, right? I thought something was interesting. Steve is saying, I think the Federal Reserve first needs to go. It's a private bank that has the authority to print. You're absolutely right, man. They do have the authority to kind of basically set policy in terms, whatever they want to do, and print and take money out of the ecosystem. Wouldn't it be interesting if a company like Ripple were to be adopted for a new system, and then a certain amount of XRP is gifted to every citizen over the age of 18, maybe gets 10 XRP, and then they revalue XRP, and that's how they maybe fix this great reset problem. I'm trying to put my thinking cap on and trying to figure out how to solve all of this, but that'd be an interesting idea, right? You have 340 million Americans. I don't even know how many of those are adults, but let's maybe 60-70% of those are adults. You could make that work, man. Like, you have 180, 200 million people that would get XRP. I mean, if you have, some of the escrowed XRP, you could make that work, right? And I'm just thinking about the United States, how to fix it. All right, let's take a look. Volante to put this out. This is just recently posted. Let me go ahead and play this for you.
When the FPC started on this faster payments journey years ago,
Faster
we
Payments Council.
essentially started from the ground up. Our first ever barometer industry study in 2019 concluded that 0% of the industry believed we had reached an ideal faster payment state, and 59% believed we were not making enough progress. Furthermore, less than half of organizations had implemented some form of faster payments. And with only one just launched real-time payments rail, that number is not surprising. But in just 2 years, our barometer results found that the number of adopters and enablers jumped to 86%. And 5 years in, we are beginning to really see the fruits of our labors. Today, the US has a real-time and instant payment service in RTP and FedNow, and a host of other faster payments offerings. And the most recent barometer concluded that adoption across platforms is increasing. 89% of banks and credit unions are using or have plans to use RTP, and 88% have plans to use FedNow over the next couple of years, and a majority will ultimately send and receive these real-time payments. But it even goes beyond the major rails, as many industry organizations use other systems to support faster payments as well. And stakeholders use all these systems to support use cases like bill pay, peer-to-peer, supplier payments, e-commerce, and more. It's clear. The US has come a long way, and industry participants agree. As 2023 marked the first year, more than half of organizations believed we were making satisfactory progress towards faster payments. In the future, the industry hopes to leverage faster payments in more ways. For cross-border instant payments and beyond, so much potential awaits for this new infrastructure we're building. And while there's much more to be done, like finding ways to address interoperability, there is also much to celebrate. As an organization and industry, we're well into this faster payments journey and are seeing the successes of our efforts. At the FPC, we'll keep on eliminating obstacles, increasing value, identifying and supporting the enhancements, and more to grow faster payments.
Sorry, I got Luna underneath me. She's been having a staring contest with me for the last 2 minutes. So sometimes it means that she needs something. So I was just seeing if she needed water or anything. I remembered I put the water next to her. 88% of banks scheduled to use FedNow over the next couple of years. It doesn't feel like banks are going to be rushing into FedNow. I think FedNow has only been able to get on board a couple hundred participants so far. I mean, there's thousands of banks. There's 4,000 banks, or just under 4,000 banks in the United States. So they have a long way to go to really kind of get that system fully adopted. Kararo Aman Bank selects FedNow service provider and Ripple partner Finastra to meet the needs of corporate clients in Jordan and Palestine. All right, let me play this for you guys.
My name is Raida Bakhura. I've joined Karman Bank as their head of digital transformation project management. Karman Bank is one of the big 4 banks in Jordan. They provide banking services to the majority of the public sector as well as the private sector. And not only do Finastra provide cutting-edge solutions, which are really aligned with what it is that we want to do, but they also have a very strong delivery team, which the bank relies on. So our experience working with Finastra so far has proven nothing but Finastra's readiness to come in and support us at all stages of the project, right from the beginning, even after implementation. If we talk about trade finance for corporates, the idea is that for corporations to come and self-serve themselves into acquiring what it is that they need to do. Implementation was fantastic. Finastra's team have been strong in delivering and supporting what it is that we do.
The great thing about this, guys, is when a new bank comes. So back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I'm talking a couple of years ago, when a bank wanted to come and get onto the SWIFT network, this could take quarters, months and months and months. It could take 3, 6, 9 months. It could take a very long time. And Ripple's been able to build a system that banks working with Finastra and whoever else, can integrate in 3 weeks, if not faster than that. That is incredible. It's breakneck speed how quickly they can get banks onto this new technology and using this new technology. The appetite needs to be there for banks wanting to use instant settlement. And when they talk about a level playing field, what they're talking about is this. It's not just about people and a level playing field for regular people that are underbanked or don't have any access to bank accounts at all. They're also talking about, the bigger banks have a monopoly on the payment system. When I say bigger banks, I'm talking about JP Morgan, HSBC, Citibank. Those 3 banks can basically kind of set their terms on what they want to do when smaller banks need to use their rails to get money into a certain corridor. So if you can basically put all of these banks and credit unions on the same type of, hey, this is going to be 5 cents for this payment for you, it's going to be 5 cents for you, 5 cents for you, and 5 cents for you. That's what they're talking about with leveling the playing field. It's not just about people, it's about banks.
They've always been there when we needed them. So this is what we look for in a partner, someone who's going to be with us through thick and thin. There's obviously a lot of value, which is why we chose Finastra for their solutions. But to me, from an implementation and transformation perspective, the focus is on the people, the processes, and the technology. It's the level of engagement, level of commitment that we have with the team. To me, that trumps everything else. Finastra checks the technology box, it checks the processes part, and it checks the people box.
Wow, crazy. So Steve and I are having this conversation in the chat, and I don't know if you guys are paying attention to this, but we're talking about fiscal responsibility for different countries, especially the United States, and we're talking about them basically setting a budget. So it's really difficult, right? Because we just saw in the United States that the Speaker of the House wants to give aid to Israel and to Ukraine, but they want to take money from the IRS. So the Biden administration put out money for the IRS to hire new agents, to hire people that are retiring, and they are usually going after corporate tax people, right? People that are not paying their fair share, billionaires that are not paying their fair share. And we talk about having a responsibility to set a budget and fiscal terms, but part of that is collecting taxes. And when you kneecap the industry or the government agency that collects those taxes so we can set a fiscal budget, that is the wrong way to do it, right? And then we hide it around that, they're coming after regular people. I mean, if you don't cheat on your taxes, they're not coming after you. Let's be honest, right? But that's the conundrum of Congress right now on both sides of the aisle. It's really, really confusing on what they're trying to do. And you're never going to have fiscal responsibility until you can actually be able to collect money from these corporate companies that do everything that they can to not pay their fair share. Because if it doesn't come from them, it has to come from us. And if it comes from us, that means people won't be able to put as much food on the table. They won't be able to pay certain bills. They won't be able to do things for their kids that they want to do. And that's what kind of gets to me. All right. Okay. JP Morgan, November 19, 2023, ISO 20022 to go live. All right. So we see more and more of this. This just kind of confirms it. I still get comments in my comments talking about that, it's been pushed back. Guys, the thing that's been pushed back is SEPA, the Single Euro Payments Area. There's a payments facility that deals with the euro in Europe. And there was 2 countries that were not quite ready yet to do that upgrade. So that is what's been pushed back. But other banks, SWIFT, DTCC, everything else is still moving forward with some type of ISO adoption. As you can see here, a second bootstrapping event will occur on October 7, 2023 for the MT110, MT111, MT112, and MT219 messages types in scope for the November 19, 2023 ISO Go Live event. So they're calling it a Go Live event, which means it's not just them doing it, right? It's an event from all different kinds of banks. Oh man, I thought this was great. Hold on. Yeah, let me play this. So Cryptonairz did a great job. I played this clip. I played this. So this is the gentleman from MoneyGram. He's the CEO of MoneyGram. And in 2019, he was at Ripple Swell, and he was talking about how great it is to use XRP. And then in 2023, he was at Meridian for XLM, and he kind of just took a crap on Ripple, and she put this perfectly together. And basically is calling him out that he was either lying in the past or he's lying today. Which is it? And I thought this was perfectly done. And I think this actually hurts MoneyGram as a company when you have the CEO out here lying through his teeth, whichever way this ends up. Let me play this for you because this was really great.
Obviously, we're doing a lot with ODL today, and also pushing into RippleNet as well in the coming weeks and months. The thing I love about ODL at the moment is that we're sort of completely in the forefront of this. As we go around and talk, I think there's a lot of skeptical people out there still, and you know, I'm here to say, I guess I was one of them, and now I am not.
Do you think Ripple could make a comeback?
There's a lot of FX volatility in that stuff.
And to be able to see transactions go to, you know, for example, U.S. to Mexico, which is the biggest corridor we have right now, we're moving, you know, $350 transfers to Mexico literally, you know, every second, you know, sub-seconds. We're moving just and settling, you know, billions of dollars. And
that's probably the single biggest challenge that we had, you know, using that was we were trying to look at cross-border use cases, and you go from, you know, US dollar to a peso like we do today. You got to buy pesos, you have to play pesos into the market. There's an FX cost to that. Well, you think when you go into the crypto world you could eliminate the FX cost. The reality is you can't, because that coin's moving around in value. So
you know, for us, I think getting US to Mexico up, I think we're pushing almost today about 10% of our volume that we normally do to Mexico through the ODL platform. It's working extremely well. We've now opened into 4 new corridors that we're beginning to scale, and I think that those will continue to ramp in the coming weeks and months. And you know, at the end of the day, pairing off our transaction flows with the currency flows really gives a lot of efficiency and scale to what we do. You know,
it didn't really solve for anything, and actually it added a third element, because now you're going a dollar to a currency to another currency. So now you're doing like 2 foreign exchange trades instead of 1.
Literally having that on-demand liquidity, so knowing how many pesos I moved, what time of day, what the peso rate was, and then be able to actually buy your pesos at that same time, land them in Mexico for the purposes of settling, is really pretty phenomenal. It's pretty amazing.
So it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. So you know, I won't comment on, you know, what else they're doing or where they're going to go, because, you know, it's a lovely company, I guess.
Man, this guy is a piece of work. Does anybody use MoneyGram? Please let me know if you do. Do you like it? I don't think I'll ever use MoneyGram for anything because just not good. So Steve, and I know we've been talking about this a lot, but you know, there's 42 million people that live in Ukraine. I'm not going to touch Israel because that is a really, really hot topic, and the Ukraine thing's been going on for a while. So there's 42 million people in Ukraine. If Russia ends up taking the whole of Ukraine, they are going to put a lot of those people into, you know, industrial complex, into the military. And where do you think Russia's going to go next? Putin's goal here is to bring back the old Soviet Union. You think he's going to stop with Ukraine? We've been giving Ukraine basically munitions that are 30 years old. We're going to have to pay to basically demolish those or take those ammunitions apart if we don't just give them to Ukraine so they can go use them. So, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think there's a couple things maybe that you're not thinking about there. But what happens when, you know, when Russia takes those 42 million people and points them against NATO? I just think that's a bigger problem for all of our countries. And, you know, it's sad because there's been a lot of loss of life on all sides. Nobody wins in war, guys. And it's just, you know, we're spending all of this extra money. So a lot of other countries, but there's a lot of other countries that have spent more than the United States. That's what Russia would do, man. Russia would attack the world. All right. So DTI will facilitate price discovery. This is the digital token identifier. This new industry standard, when adopted by digital asset service providers, data providers, and regulators, will contribute alongside the GDF code to conduct the mainstream adoption of digital assets in orderly to standardizing the way, said Lawrence Wintermeyer, executive co-chair of the Global Digital Finance Group. All right. The purpose of the DTI is to address the demands of the exchanges, custodians, financial institutions, and regulatory authorities for a registry and identifier assessment process for digital tokens to mirror the use of ISINs and UPIs to the digital asset space. DTIs will bring many benefits to users for this borrowing of asset classes, from improving liquidity, allowing for easier identification of counterparties, facilitating price discovery, and improving the operational efficiency. So for the first time, I mean, we haven't been able to use cryptocurrency in very many payments, right? Ripple, since ODL's kind of been put out, they've done only $30 billion. And $30 billion is really kind of just a drop in the bucket when you're talking about global payments. I mean, Citibank does, I think, 12 trillion a day, and JP Morgan does 10 trillion a day in clearing. So when you're talking about, you know, just 30 billion, there's a lot that can be done there. And when you have ISO 20022 mixed with ISO 24165, the DTI, the digital token identifier, that's really where you can start actually using crypto for the very first time in some of these settlements of these securities and other assets. So it's going to be exciting to see what happens. I do think it's going to be a very slow rollout, guys. I don't think we wake up on the 20th rich. You know, I'm going to stand behind that point. I would love to be wrong, but it's going to be a slow rollout. Okay. No new data fields were available in March 2023. Rich data elements for cross-border payments, November 2023. ISO put this out. This is ISO 20022, the usage of rich data. Debitor, ultimate debitor, creditor, ultimate creditor, and other. So it's a little blurry on here. You can go to his page and take a look at all this. But just really cool. It's from Swift. Sibos 2023. I think this was taken recently from the Sibos event. And so the traditional debitor and creditor tags present in FIN are present debitor and creditor name, address, account ID, and debitor creditor agent. So I think like these are the accounts here, addresses, code. You can see it's LEI, which is lay, right? LEI. So I think this all kind of goes into the ISO payment message. And so all of these different fields is kind of what you're looking at here, right? Lay, name, address, another lay. It's just interesting to see how this is kind of set up and what this will look like. Hopefully Swift updates their systems because it looks terrible. I thought this was interesting. WeWork is, I mean, we knew this for a long time, but once a very prominent company is now basically gone, and a lot of money gone with it. Let me just play this really quickly because it's a minute and there's a lot of cool information in it.
This is the share price of WeWork.
Look at that.
In January
418
2021, WeWork shares were healthy. Look at what it's worth today, just $1. Why did WeWork not work? The pandemic was one reason. People just worked from home. And that was a problem for WeWork. They had long-term leases with the building owners. The average was around 15 years. But their customers had much shorter leases. The average was 2 years. Some really bad business decisions were made, like overexpansion. WeWork diversified into other things, like WeLive, which was called a residential utopia, and Rise by We. It was supposed to be a wellness network. Those things had nothing to do with workspaces, yet the company put money into them, and the result was this, a lot of debt. Their long-term loans are worth $3 billion. Their leases are worth $13 billion. And now WeWork cannot make those payments. Hence the reports of bankruptcy. This is the share price of WeWork.
Man, that is crazy.
In January
Imagine shorting WeWork in January 2021. You would be a gazillionaire. All right, Stuart Alradi. Remarkably, Gensler suggested that a crypto project retaining a lawyer is a security. Oh my God, that's wrong. That's wrong as a matter of law, not to mention common sense, and it is not suitable, or excuse me, and it's not so subtle and outrageous threat to everyone's right and consult a lawyer. So this is kind of what he was talking about here. October 25th, 2023. I'm pleased to join you at the 2023 Securities Enforcement Forum. As it is customary, I would like to note that my views are my own as chairman in the SEC Commission, and I am not speaking on the behalf of the fellow commissions and staff. When I spoke to you years ago, I shared the SEC's first chair, Joseph Kennedy, said in his first speech, the commission will make war without quarter on any who sell securities by fraud or misrepresentation. In a subsequent speech just 4 months later, Kennedy emphasized, we are not prosecutors of honest businesses nor defenders of crookedness. We are partners of honest businesses and prosecutors of dishonesty, and we shall not prejudge, but we shall investigate. Those words remain true today. I'm not going to read through this whole speech, but I guess in this speech somewhere, I wish I would have identified exactly where he talks about this, but Gary Gensler he's lost his support with the American people. He's lost his support in Congress. The only person that cares about Gary Gensler still is Elizabeth Warren, and she needs to be voted out too, in my opinion, personal opinion. T-Spot Cryptos put this up. For those who the link may not work, listen, XRP may not have been used in the proof of concept, but in my honest opinion, this is much bigger, with Interledger being successfully tested with the Bank of England and Ripple. This is one of the larger steps in the right direction. This is a bigger than just one token. So he's talking about the proof of concept that the Bank of England did. Proof of concept was a successful exercise to develop the bank's understanding of synchronization and possible technical solutions. Our key two learning points were that Interledger protocol was able to support synchronization of payments between two simulated real-time gross settlement system ledgers. That's really the main sticking point right there. That the Interledger protocol validator created a single source of truth between the two ledgers, which is great, eliminating the need for separate processes such as mutual reconciliation between separate ledgers. Cross-border payments, when applied to wholesale markets, represent different challenges than compared to with retail and corporate transactions, which the Ripple product is designed to handle. The ability of liquidity is one such challenge, and the proof of concept allowed Bank and Ripple to begin exploring these questions. So we'll have to see what the Bank of England decides to do, but he's just kind of quoting the proof of concept here. All right, so Alex Becker put this out. Alex Becker has called a lot of tops and a lot of bottoms of markets. He says, I'm extremely skeptical on this move in Bitcoin and think we get a recession in 2024. But with crypto gaming coming out about 30% of its lows, and the cost of not taking the risk here in games could be catastrophic. These will be doing 20 to 50 X's, aiming to have a video out on Wednesday. So that is tomorrow that he should have a video out about this. The guy does good work. I kind of like it. I wanted to just kind of bring with you, our team at Cryptonairz put together a list of AI and crypto gaming projects, as well as the community kind of helped out as well. I think we have about 18 of them right now. It's posted in, if you want to take a look at it right now, if you're just hearing this and you're in the community, you want to go into Alpha Sensei. I posted it maybe 2 or 3 days ago. This is one of the projects that I brought from that. Let me just go ahead and just show you this. OriChain is at $52 million market cap. You can basically trade this on KuCoin, PancakeSwap, Gate.io, BitGet, and a few other places. HelixXT.com, OpenOcean, CoinX, Biloxi, and broadcast trustworthy proofs. IBC enable layer 1 to verify multi-dimensional trustworthiness of AI and to build Web3 applications with unique AI Oracle. This is actually very, very cool. Experience AI-driven innovation. Delve into our dynamic ecosystem of products within DeFi, NFTs, identity, collective intelligence, asset tokenization, smart healthcare, and more. Right, and it talks about our partners. There are these guys down here. CSCoin. Okay, you have Injective, which did a 15x from INJ was at a dollar for such a long time. It just did a 15x, and so we're seeing big things happen right now in the crypto space. You also have. It's not V chain, it's just the V chain without the E. So this is not the same V chain that we know. Tron's also on here as well. Interesting company, right? Developers are the heartbeat of our ecosystem. No matter the stage, our team and experts are here to help assess feasibility, provide technical support, and aid business development, and provide funding for innovative ideas. So I think this is going to be a monster. There's also Big Time, which is a pretty cool game. This is sitting at a $28 million market cap. It had a nice pump back here at the beginning. Let me just go all here. So this thing launched at the beginning of October. It had a nice pump up down to about 30 cents and has since come back down. And I think we started kind of talking about this in Cryptonairz kind of in this area. It got listed on Coinbase last week. Was it last week or the week before? I know it got listed on Coinbase very recently, but let me just show you what Big Time is. Big Time preseason launch, get a pass, redeem a pass. Preseason is here. Discover our adventures. instances, craft and find collectibles, open mystery boxes and unique abilities, and so much more. I mean, as soon as like this could be multi-billion-dollar game, you know, it could be something really, really, really big. And I think we're waiting for that. I think crypto is still waiting for. I know we've had our like Axie Infinities and things like that, but I think we're still waiting for a game that really changes the world, right? League of Legends, let's just say, a game like that, of that stature, being on a crypto blockchain where you're bringing in millions of new people into the crypto space every day to play that game. I think that is something that we have not quite seen yet on a bigger scale. So I'm really excited to see that. And I think this game could be one of them. This guy looks like Octane from, what's it called? Apex Legends, which is, I think some of these games just kind of copy other characters, but it's all good. It's all good. But this could be a big game. You can download, there's leaderboards, economy, about the game. Let me just show you this really quickly. Humanity's on the brink of extinction. When are we not? The walls of space-time are collapsing. Different eras of history are colliding together. Doesn't this sound like the multiverse from Marvel? Probably something before that. And forces of darkness are coming through the tears of time. Yet there's still no hope. Yet at the end of the universe stands the ancient and mysterious alien city. So you can see kind of where how this takes place. But battle royale games are really cool, especially when you can kind of play with your friends and just have a good time, right? So this is one of the games that we've been talking about in the Cryptonairz community. Also, Render. Render is another project. Let me go ahead and pull up the website for Render really quickly. What's up, other Nomad? Good to see you. What's up, Showfinger? Great to see you too, man. RE, good to see you too. I'll get to your comment in just 1 second. Let me just kind of go through this and I'll get to it. So distributed GPU rendering for the blockchain, on the blockchain, excuse me. You can subscribe to get some, weekly or daily news things from Render here if you want to do that on the Render website. Render Network provides near unlimited decentralized GPU computing for the next generation of 3D content creation. The Render Network is the first decentralized GPU rendering platform, empowering artists to scale GPU rendering work on demand to high-performance GPU nodes around the world through a blockchain marketplace for idle GPU compute. The network provides artists with the ability to scale next-generation rendering works at fractions of the cost and orders of magnitude increases in speed compared to centralized GPU cloud. This is actually such a cool idea. Introduction, our vision to the democratized GPU cloud rendering. Let me just play this real quick.
Hi, this is Jules Urbach, CEO of Otoy. Otoy's been at the forefront of GPU rendering for almost a decade now. Our product, Octane Render, was one of the first GPU renders to provide cinematic realism to film jobs and television. Today, it's used in productions like the opening of Westworld, and it's also now a big part of video game development, especially for AR and VR. Octane's a very special GPU software. There's really no limit to the amount of compute power and render power that you can throw behind a render job with our software. Our idea is that at a certain point, scaling GPU rendering power is too difficult. Rendering locally on a network and even in the cloud just hit a wall. It's impossible to leverage all of the GPUs in the world efficiently without some sort of decentralized system that allows that to be tracked and managed. Today, we're very proud to introduce the Render token, which is a ERC20 token that's based on the Ethereum blockchain. This token will allow anyone to participate in render jobs and be rewarded with render tokens that they can cash in. Everyone creating renders and creating content through this system has authorship and chain of title established on the blockchain permanently. Our goal is not only to create a distributed peer-to-peer network of unlimited rendering power, but also to have a marketplace where services and assets and even modules built on the rendering network can be distributed and shared and monetized by everyone. There's nothing that's going to be rendered through the Render token that isn't coming from artistic or creative intent. That's the whole point of the service. So there's a lot that can be done beyond just creating great artwork and media or even video games with this technology. There's scientific simulations, light leaking simulations for architecture that can be built inside of the rendering system. And this means that you can actually perform render jobs that are useful for the sciences and for research and get rewarded at the same time. This is a great use of the blockchain and of everyone's GPU power. Our vision as a company has been to democratize compute and rendering power, and this is one of the best ways to do it. Please visit us for more.
Man, I mean, it's such a great idea, guys. I think this is going to be a monster project. You're seeing at about $887 million. I wouldn't be surprised if in a few years this is multiple, dozens of billions of dollars in market cap. I do think this project is going to have a nice little run once we get into a bull market, and it might have a run sooner than that. We'll have to see. But there's also Oasis Network, talking about Oasis for kind of a long time in Cryptonairz Discord. Oasis just had a decent move here from about 42, 4 cents all the way up to about 6 cents, almost doubled in price there. Let me just see, is this on the 7 days? No, this is since basically the end of October, which is about a week ago, 6 days ago. This has gone up from about 5 cents to almost 7 cents. So nice move, 32% in the last 7 days for Rose Oasis. I'll just show you the website real quick and just do some real quick, and I'm going to kind of get on with this. Oasis Network Smart Privacy starts here. Better DApps require smarter privacy. Use cutting-edge tools and add customizable confidentiality to any Web3 activity. Decline. I don't want you. They actually have multiple different. They have Sapphire, Emerald, and Cypher. These are just different layers. Let me just show you this really quickly. Sapphire is the first and only confidential EVM that empowers Web3 and smart privacy. It involves with developers, users, and brands. Developers can build EVM-based on-chain DApps with smart contracts that are 100% confidential, 100% public, and anywhere in between. There's just so many different use cases for Oasis token. They have different technologies here. So Emerald offers full EVM compatibility, scalability, low gas fees, and cross-chain interoperability. You also have Cypher. Cypher is WebAssembly WASM-based privacy-enabled time with Cypher and Oasis contract SDK. Developers can use Rust to build the next generation of confidential DApps. There's just so much here, guys. I could go over this for like 20 minutes, but I just want to put these on your radar so you can go ahead and research these projects yourself. And if you want a group of another 15 or 16, you can always join Cryptonairz to get the access to those projects. All right, Ripple SBI. Before I touch on this really quickly, so we're having a conversation here, and I think this is worth having a conversation. It involves the world about Ukraine and Russia and kind of what's going on and support from European countries and nobody likes to really kind of talk about this sometimes, because it's awkward, right? But if Russia needs people, Russia is in a very tough time right now as far as if you look at their population and the decline of their population and women having children and families having children in Russia, right? Same as China. China's having the exact same problem, but for different reasons, okay? So Russia actually needs people. That's why they tried to take Ukraine. At the end of the day, they need bodies, right? They need people to work in the factories. They need people to work on these gas platforms. They need people to build weapons. They need all of this stuff, right? And that is kind of what's happening. Ukraine wants to be a democracy. They don't want to be under Russia's rule. So that's what you're getting and fighting. And you're having countries that believe in democracy supporting Ukraine. So no matter what your thought process is there, it's either you stand on one side or you stand on the other. It's a very hard to be in between, and it doesn't matter if you're against it or you're for it. You're still a person at the end of the day, and you have the ability to have your opinions and what you believe in. Nobody should look down on you for that and think badly of you for that. But I'm more for like liberty of people than kind of controlling people. And I don't know. The way that Russia and China are going right now, I just don't think it's too healthy for the world. Imagine if those places had democracies and they could figure out what they want to do on their own, right? People get jailed for speaking out in those countries, and that's scary, right? Imagine me being jailed right after this chat because I've spoke out about the U.S. and their financial system, right? That's kind of what people deal with in those countries, and that is what's scary, and that is what Ukraine doesn't want. So we can go back and forth about giving money to different countries, but it's all about that type of thought process to me. All right, I could be totally wrong, but that's how I look at it. All right, SBI and remit. Let's just move on. We'll get back to crypto. Let me play this. Japan to Thailand. My daughter works in Japan. First, she went there to study, and since graduation, she's been working there. She sends money to me once a month. The money is for our family expenses and her brother's studies. Before the app, I would have to go all the way to the bank myself and fill out all this extra information on a form. It's a waste of time. Now, whoever she sends money, she through SBI Remit. I receive a text from her saying, Mom, I'm going to send you the money now. I'm going to use it. Open the app and there she can use the money. And there's no need to go all the way to the bank. It's fast, it's convenient. All right, you gotta love it. All right, this is interesting. We're going to talk about AI here for a couple different things. So, how AI will disrupt the financial services industry, Hong Kong Fintech Week 2023. One of the most exciting topics is regulation of AI in the financial sector. Speaker is Nakil Ratti, Chief Executive Financial Conduct Authority, United Kingdom. The DC Fintech Week, which Brad Garlinghouse will be attending November 6th to the 9th. Okay. All right, let me play this.
Seagull, I think over the last 12 months, we've seen a dramatic shift in global interest in AI, particularly political interest, and the desire to invest both in the official sector and the private sector in understanding the risks and collaborating across borders. We are identifying that AI is borderless, it may surpass human understanding and human intelligence, and therefore as a system we need to get our act together. And in the UK this week there's been the Global AI Safety Summit with a very powerful declaration coming out from 28 countries. And I think that's important for us in the finance sector, because what we need to know is that the questions around security, the questions around global cooperation are being tackled, which then enables us, I think, to have a platform on which we can support and enable innovation using AI, both in consumer markets and in wholesale markets.
Thank you. Thank you.
Seagull, I think over the last 12...
All right, give me a second. My chat has stopped working for some reason. Let me just reload this. Give me 1 second here. Pop out chat. Give me 1 second. I don't know why this thing just stopped. Pop out chat. Okay, let me go ahead and play this next clip. This next clip is actually a pretty good one. This is Damaradharian. I butchered that. Money and assets need to come together for tokenization. Check this out.
Who is the provider of the tokenized asset? And who provides the trust that it's indeed, the tokenized form of the asset is indeed what the asset it represents behind the scenes. It's the real estate, or it is the carbon credit, or it is the invoice that we're talking about. We need those mainstream providers. They're not crypto companies, they are B2B companies that are there today that offer these assets using a non-crypto, non-blockchain technology. They need to come on board as well. And that's what we started seeing when we ran this innovation sprint in UK. We started seeing financial institutions coming in, providing scalable money, and asset providers coming in, providing that last mile of trust that you need, so that when you have the tokenized asset on chain, you know that truly it represents the asset, right? So I think that is, there are a few other things like identity and trust and compliance and making sure that the environment is safe and sound. But the core building blocks are scalable money and scalable asset provider list.
And going back to your note about regulation, are you guys feeling optimistic about the regulatory path here in the U.S.? Start with you, Raj.
Look, on the stablecoin side, I think there has been as much clarity as you've seen. The state side is providing. The New York State is leading the regulatory framework on that. There is a number of bills that are proposed right now on the overall federal level. We'll see what happens. You've seen even today, UK proposed a stablecoin regulation this morning. MiCA in Europe has already a law of the land. I think we welcome this increased regulatory clarity. I think what it'll provide is it'll clarify what assets that need to back and how you can consider a stable coin to be compliant. But beyond that, I think the financial institutions also starting to enter in the space. You may have seen a number of announcements, and they're using existing money that is already regulated that they're trying to apply this technology to. So you'd see overall it is moving in the right direction. Obviously, there are multiple jurisdictions, varied laws. It'll take time, right?
What's up, Chris? Yeah, I mean, it's going to take time, guys. I think we all, like, this is the hard part, and this is where we need to have honesty with each other, right? Like, we all want to think that crypto is going to just explode overnight and we're all going to the moon like tomorrow. And in reality, the world is a much slower place than that, right? You don't even have regulation in the United States yet. Yes, MiCA is coming into play towards the end of 2024, but that's the end of 2024, guys, right? Now, we don't, it's hard, right? Because in one part of this, I believe that one day, if you do get, you know, certain bank like SWIFT, like the DTCC, that want to use an asset like an XRP or an XLM, I think you can get crazy price discovery very, very quickly. I think you won't see it coming. You know, and it could be on a random day like November 19th or November 20th, right? It could be. But, you know, the other side of my brain, the way that I think is that, you know, we still don't have regulation in a lot of part of the world, right? The UK is great. Singapore is good. Hong Kong is good. You know, China has their own way of regulation. Japan's working on it. Australia's working on it. Canada's got some regulation. So there is regulations in large parts of the world, but it's still going to take time for tokenization of assets to happen. You can see the tests being made now with, you know, on the Hedera ecosystem, Toko to tokenizing bonds, right? That is the step in the right direction, but we're not quite there yet. And I think we all want to believe that we are. And, you know, use cases are still being built out. Regulation is still being figured out, and CBDCs are still years away. And sure, we have a few countries that have launched CBDCs, or we have some testing going on, but testing is not a final product, right? And until we get a final product, right, for the US and for the EU, and this is like 2026 realistically. That is the time frame, 2025, 2026. That's the realistic time frame that I see CBDCs coming into play. Okay. And I could be off, but if you read between the lines of what, you know, Christine Lagarde has put out from the European Central Bank, she's talking about another 2 years of testing, right? That puts us into 2025, into 2026, right? You have the U.S. We can't even figure out what we're spending money on right now, let alone crypto regulation, right? So that you probably will get regulation, hopefully in 2024 with the United States for maybe CBDCs, right? You always are going to get CBDC regulation first, and no matter what country you're dealing with, because that's what they're going to want to use for a wholesale CBDC to send money to and from. You know, settlement, interbank settlements, that's very important. And then you're going to get a retail CBDC. That always happens second. So you're going to see stablecoin regulation, CBDC regulation first, right? Stablecoin CBDC. And then you'll probably see a broader approach for the rest of the crypto market. Now, you know, certain people in the U.S. think, you know, that the laws that we have right now are sufficient enough to do what we need to do. That's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow for me. I think we do need guidance still, and we're going to talk a little bit about this real quick. So, Bank of England proposes allowing stablecoins as a payment option for goods and services. Like I said, it's always going to be stablecoins first, guys. UK government has disclosed its ultimate, guys. So it doesn't get better than this. It's the ultimate set of rules for regulation of crypto assets and stablecoins. It represents a significant milestone in the nation's approach to digital currencies. This action underscores the government's commitment to developing a comprehensive regulatory framework for crypto assets, aligning them with traditional financial services. Okay, now you see this sentence right here? This is the most important sentence right here. Aligning them with traditional financial services. So right now, the UK is one of the biggest financial hubs in the world, right? And you have all of these systems that are built out on this old banking system, right? You need to be able to connect the new system with the old system to start moving that value over slowly, right? And over time, that'll happen. So aligning with traditional financial services is is the key here, right? If you start to do that, now you're talking about a lot of money coming blockchain's way. The UK government's regulatory strategy outlines a phased rollout of crypto rules Initially, the focus will be on governing fiat-backed stablecoins. There you go. Initial ruling, governing fiat-backed stablecoins, okay? That you need that before you do anything with crypto regulation. And so that's what you'll probably see. If you live in a country that is kind of exploring CBDCs, but you don't have crypto regulation yet, you're going to see this first, okay? No matter what they do, this is the most important thing, because CBDCs will lead to a broader adoption of crypto assets, right? If a non-crypto person starts to use a CBDC and they're like, hey man, this is really easy. I just bought what I needed to on Amazon with the stablecoin. Maybe crypto isn't that hard. Maybe I can go in and learn, right? And that's really what you want. The subsequent phases will extend oversight to other facets of the cryptocurrency sector, including algorithmic stablecoins. This method introduces a structure and a gradual regulatory environment for rapidly evolving in the digital currency arena. All right, and then this announcement is from the government follows a consultation process initiated earlier this year. It demonstrates its dedication to tackling the regulatory complexities associated with the crypto domain, and the proposed legislative framework is slated for implementation in 2024. It offers the industry adequate time to prepare for the new regulatory landscape. So you do see this happening in the UK in 2024, which is great news. This will put pressure on the US and other countries that have not yet fully taken these steps yet to do this. But you are going to see the EU and the UK have a substantial head start in all of this, right? And that's very, very exciting, because there's a lot of money in these countries that go through these financial institutions and these industries, and I'm excited for that money to be moving through blockchains. And I think as more adoption happens, you're going to see more value and more value and more value. Crucial elements for the upcoming regulations encompass the mandate for cryptocurrency exchanges to institute meticulous administrative standards and disclosure requirements for token issuers when they seek to list a new digital asset. These regulations are designed to enhance transparency and provide added protection for market participants and consumers. I am for this. I know there's some people that are sitting there, in your car, or, on your phone or whatever, and you're like, man, I can't believe Sensei said that. But think about this. Right now, we are still in a very, very scam market. I mean, how many cryptos have you invested in? Have I invested in that have either turned out to be scams, or they were kind of BS all along and we were just lied to, right? And the more that you're in crypto, the more this happens to you, because no one's ever 100% perfect, but if you win more than you lose, you're a winner out here, right? So that's the key. So if there's more protections for people like me and you, I am all for it. What else does this do? This will also take money that was wasted on scams and actually put it into real assets that you may own, which will increase the value of those assets. So this is a plus for me, right? It protects you and me. It gets more money into better assets, and it gets rid of bad actors. I'm all for this, and this should be like a worldwide thing, because that way the market wouldn't be looked at as such a scam market, right? When you hear people like Gary Gensler in the United States talking about, a lot of crypto scams and this and that, I mean, he's not wrong on a lot of that, right? There is way too many scams in crypto. I mean, just look at this. I'm getting sidetracked here, but how many cryptos are they tracking? Let me see. Exchanges, they're tracking 607 cryptos, 2 million plus. Hold on. I need a better number than that. Hold on. CoinGecko. Let me just show you this real quick. Gecko.com. All right. CoinGecko is tracking 10,000 cryptocurrencies, 10,805. Do you think there's 10,805 actual real world use cases out here? Or do you think there's a lot of tokens that they're tracking that will never go anywhere, that will never do anything, that will never live up to promises that they've made, that promises that they've kept, roadmaps that they've put together that were all bullshit? I mean, we're still in a very early phase of this market, guys. When you really consider the rest of the market, we're still in early phase. All right. I'll get off my soapbox. Additionally, City Minister Andrew Griffiths stressed the importance of regulatory transparency in the crypto asset sector. He emphasized that the UK aims to create an environment where crypto companies can confidentially invest in innovative while upholding customer protections. Griffith remarked, the UK is the logical destination for initiating and expanding a crypto business. Now, I wish that were 100% true. The UK has actually had some pretty shitty banking rules for crypto companies, and you've actually had a lot of crypto companies leave the UK for places like Dubai. That's a fact. Now, they need to address this. They can't just be out here talking about we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but you have to address the frustrations of actual real crypto businesses that are trying to expand in your country. And so I hope they can address that soon. You just saw JP Morgan Chase in the United Kingdom stop doing, on and off ramps for crypto exchanges. So there's different things here that there's different facets of this industry that needs to kind of work together and come together. And I think we're making progress. UK's makes headway on into the crypto sector. So what they're talking about, guys, is this that was put out yesterday. And this is a very, 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 very long document. Okay. And I won't be reading this all to you, but let me just put this on your radar so you can research this yourself. I would be here for another hour and a half reading this whole thing to you. But the Bank of England's proposed regulatory regime aims to maintain confidence in money and payments. It's core to preserving financial stability. All right, I'm just going to read a little bit of the intro to you, and I will just put this on your radar, okay? There's been rapid innovation by the private sector in money and payments over the past few decades, giving households and businesses more choice over how they make and receive their payments. This includes the emergence of stablecoins. They are a new form of privately issued digital assets that propose to maintain a stable value against a fiat currency. Most stablecoins right now, guys, are USD, right? US dollar. I think like 90-something% of stablecoins are in USD. So we need stablecoins in euros. We need stablecoins in British pounds. But in order to kind of do that, you need markets for those types of things, and that's what they're talking about here, I think, in building out. Okay. Stablecoins have the potential to be used by many people in the UK for everyday payments. It's important for policymakers to set out the regulatory requirements so innovators can plan ahead and so that innovation can be adopted safely. We regulate operators of systemic payment systems and service providers that provide essential services to these. After these have been recognized by HM Treasury or HMT, recent legislative changes have expanded this remit to capture operators of systemic payment systems that transfer digital settlement assets, including stablecoins and related service providers. This discussion paper sets out our proposed regulatory framework for systemic payment systems using stablecoins and related service providers. It focuses on sterling-denominated stablecoins because it considers these are most likely digital settlement assets to be used widely for payments. Part 1 outlines our role in ensuring the safety of money and payments and the scope of this regime, and Part 2 explains the proposed requirements of this regime. It is published alongside a discussion paper from the Financial Conduct Authority, also known as the FCA. The FCA and the HM Treasury are going to have kind of a dual role in kind of setting these policies. That's kind of how I understood this. MMT, are you still here? How did you kind of understand this? And I'll get to the chat here in just a second, guys. Give me 1 second. Regulatory approach to stablecoin issuers and custodians. A letter from the Prudential Regulation Authority, the PRA, to bank executive chief officers of innovations and the use by banks and deposits, e-money and stablecoins, and a roadmap paper which sets out the various regimes interact together. How these various regimes interact together. With these joint publication, regulators aim to provide clarity as to which regulatory regime each form of money and money-like instrument falls under, with regulatory boundaries between each regime clearly established. The discussion paper represents a exploratory phase in developing a new regime. All right. And so here's everything. So I'm going to post this link in the chat since I'm the only person that can post a link in the chat. Let me post this link really quickly for you guys, so you guys can check this out on your spare time. I need to go through this myself and read it all. I mean, I didn't have time. I think this came out yesterday, and I just hadn't had the time to sit down and read through this whole entire paper. But there's a lot here, guys. There's a lot here, and this is going to take quite some time. What is that thing we used to have back in the day? Cliff Notes. I wish there was a Cliff Notes version of this. But as you can see, it goes on to talk about the new regulatory regime of systemic payment systems using stablecoins. Payments focused, retail focused, Great British Pound denominated, widely used for payments in the UK. You can see regulatory landscape for stablecoin issued by non-banks and banks. There's just a lot of information here. You can tell that they put a lot of time into understanding all this. And as more information kind of gets clipped and put together, I'll bring it to you guys in future chats. But there's a lot here. Okay. Anyways, let's keep going. So Project Cedar and Project Ubin, off-chain CBDC cross-border payments, secret hash generated from originating bank for privacy. You know what? I think I wanted to put this like way back in the front of the chat, but I just I was in doing a bunch of research, and sometimes I leave tweets where they're not supposed to be. So that's my bad. All right, this is actually a great clip from Mr. Man. Let me go ahead and he's got one thing here too. I totally passed this. Check this out. Consultation period of digital asset platforms in Australia comes close December 1st, 2023. Check this out. So the Australian government, the Treasury, just put this out, regulating digital asset platforms. This is October 2023. And this is the same thing. This is 56 pages long. All right. Let me just give you the overview, and I'll just read you the parts real quick. The government is working to introduce a regulatory framework for entities providing access to digital assets and holding them for Australians and Australian businesses. The reforms target identified consumer harms while supporting innovation in use cases of digital assets and emerging technologies. The proposed regulatory framework would apply to digital asset service providers that present similar risks to entities that operate in traditional finance systems. It seeks to leverage the Australian Financial Services License, the AFSL framework, to regulate digital asset service providers to ensure consistent oversight and safeguard for consumers. What is this going to talk about? It's going to talk about introduction, explain the objectives of the reforms and the policy problem being solved. Part 2 is the regulating digital asset intermediaries, outlines a proposed regulatory framework for digital asset facilities, including its scope, structure, and focus. Part 3 is going to be licensing digital asset intermediaries, describes a mix of standards and tailored licensing obligations that would apply to service providers in relation to digital asset facilities. Part 4 is minimum standards for facility contract, describes the proposed requirements for structuring a digital asset facility, including custodial and reporting rules. Part 5 is minimum standards for financialized functions, describes the specific activities that would require compliance with additional rules. Part 6, other activities, explores some other activities that may be included in the future. And then step 7 outlines future milestone in relation to this proposal. So, man, there is a lot here. Obviously, I cannot go through this all with you guys, but the key here is to put this on your guys' radar. So if you want to take your due diligence, if you live in these countries and you want to understand these things a little bit better, please take a look at this. You know, I'll get into some of this. I'll get into a little bit. All right, understanding the policy problem. Key. So this is key terms and concept used throughout this paper. No, I thought it was key takeaways. Hold on. No. 11 key takeaways. No, maybe we'll dive into this next chat. We've already been here for an hour and a half, and I want to finish this because I got a few other things I want to get to before we end today. So let me put pause on this and we'll get back to it. Okay. All right. So Mr. Man put 3 things out. BMO Canada message to users to app starting November and enhance BMO mobile app, a better digital experience. BMO, I believe, Ripple partner here, right? R3 member banks involved. The trial include Barclays, BMO Financial, Ripple Insights. All right. Also, check this out. This is cool. A conversation about global stablecoins is described as having a centralized authority that does not have ownership of the coin. Listen to this. This is pretty cool.
Oftentimes, in fact, did things that were beneficial to the banks and detrimental to their customers, right? So I think the fundamental idea around centralized authorities having power to determine money and to determine monetary policy is flawed. And what truly decentralized cryptocurrencies give you is a system where the network now becomes the way to enforce monetary policy, right? So a Decred, similar to Bitcoin, there'll only be 21 million Decred ever mined, right? So effectively it becomes a deflationary currency, right? And if we design the system correctly, is this idea that as the network and marketplace grows, value will accrue to the currency. So anyone that holds the currency benefits in the upside, right, of the value as that economy grows. In centralized systems, the beneficiary is the corporation, right? The corporations will get together to figure out how to capture the majority of the benefit, capture most rents to the detriment of the users. So, we have a very, very different view, and we think that, true decentralized currencies actually are the way to go in that they empower individual sovereignty. They're permissionless, so anyone can participate and adhere to the rules. They're censorship resistant, which is really important. It's this idea that my value and my wealth is controlled by me, and no third party can either tell me or censor me or exclude me from the financial system. And so I think those things are really important.
So I want to come back to all of that.
I thought that was a really great clip, right? And then he goes on to point out the XRP ledger is designed to be censorship resistant, which I thought was cool. And then no, Ripple does not own or control the XRP ledger or the XRP ledger network. Ripple does control a lot of the tokens, but hey, what can you do? They have a future and they have a vision, and they're trying to build all of this stuff in the background, right? They're doing a lot of the work. So, hey, they get rich over it. So do all we. So I'm cool with it. But I just wanted to get to the chat really quickly because you guys, it is important to talk with you guys. Chris DeMeo, interesting information. Yeah. Showfinger said, hey, Ariana, I'm great. Glad to be here. I love you, Shill. Love you, Ariana. Thank you guys for being here. GG Fax Vet said it's the valuation of XRP adoption without CBDC. Oh, that's interesting, man. I think maybe I read about this a long time ago, but it just didn't pop into my head. So thank you for breaking that down for the community. I really appreciate you. The other Nomad said it's a long-term play. Dream is about 2 to 3 years. I think you're really spot on with that time frame. Yes, ISO goes, so certain parts of ISO, right? It's not just every single message goes live on the 19th. It is certain parts of ISO messages. I think that mostly do with like security settlements and things like that. So you could see if the DTCC started to use digital assets to settle certain securities transactions on the 20th of November, and that started to get into the trillions of dollars a day, and they used something like XRP, you're going to see a systemic pump in the price of XRP. I don't know if the network is fully designed for that yet, to be honest with you. We need AMMs. Oh, let's have a little update on that, right? XRPL amendments. I forgot to bring this up. Let me just let's take a look at this really quickly. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. No amendments. Open for voting. Here we go. No, I always click on the wrong thing here. What is it? This? No. I think it's this. Nope. Man, there it is. No, it's not. What is going on here? Well, where is it? XP Legit. That's it. The dashboard. See, my ADHD, I'm just clicking on shit. I just need to calm down and read. Okay, we are at 11 votes, 28 of 35. So we're gaining. And remember, guys, just because it says nay here does not mean these people voted no or these validators voted no. What this is it automatically defaults to no. Even if you didn't vote no, it defaults to nay. So just don't start sending hate messages to Spectre and BitThumb, right? Because some of these people might not have voted yet, XRP scan and etc. But we need 28 out of 35 votes, and we need it's 80% consensus for 2 weeks straight for this to be implemented. Now, there are some things that we talked about in Sensei Chat, I think last week or the week before, that maybe are stopping some of these people from voting. Yes, quite soon. I think validators need to be updated, so that's not an issue. I think they're waiting to get back another audit. Because there was a problem back in the day after they got, what was this, earlier this year in 2023, They had a CertIC audit. CertIC was like, no big issues. And then like 7 days later, there was a big issue found. So, I do think you are going to see AMMs pass. I do think AMMs are a big piece of the liquidity puzzle. I think you're going to be able to draw on this liquidity. I think it's going to be needed if you really want to take a large part of the world's payments. So I'll keep a close eye on that and keep you updated through these chats. It does look like fixed reduced offers V1 is getting close. Clawbacks, voters 19, threshold 20. Okay, so it's always the threshold. So this is 54. I think this has gained some steam since we last looked at it. Anyway, so nothing yet has 80%. So we'll have to take a look at this as it keeps going. And let's kind of finish off this chat here because there's a little bit more to get to. I thought this was interesting. The OCCRP investigation alleges Berkel embezzled $200 million for Bitcoin projects in El Salvador. Does this shock anybody? An investigation led by the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project alleges that Nayib Berkel, president of El Salvador, devoted hundreds of millions of dollars granted by the Central American Bank for Economic Integration to develop the project for making Bitcoin legal tender. Doesn't surprise me, guys. Doesn't surprise me. You know, the guy that runs El Salvador, I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. Didn't he have like a media company? And he's kind of like, that's how he got into power, because he used his media company to kind of project him into the light, and now he's just kind of taking control of everything. I'm not in El Salvador. I'm not on the ground. I don't really know the day-to-days, but anyways, I remember that. SEC asked court for summary judgment against Do Kwon at Terraform Labs. The Securities and Exchange Commission is asking a federal judge for a summary judgment, saving everyone the spectacle of a full trial. Man, the SEC... Oh, wow. Because it says there's no genuine dispute as any material fact in the case of Do Kwon and Terraform Labs, there is no dispute that purchasers made an investment of money either through fiat currency or crypto assets. The SEC wrote that it's filing, the SEC wrote in its filing. I gotta scroll in. Filing. Hey, I'll call you right back, all right? All right, I love you. Bye. Sorry, it's my mom. Got to answer when my mom calls. All right. Which continues to rehash regulatory argument that Kwon and Terraform sold securities. The filing says that money being pooled in a common enterprise with the expectation of profits predominantly from the efforts of the promoters satisfies the Howey test and warrants judgment in favor of the SEC. So the SEC doesn't even want to fight this. They said there's nothing in dispute. The judge should just grant them, what they, the win and move on. So we'll have to see how this goes. U.S. traders can now trade regulated leverage crypto futures through Coinbase Financial Markets. Oh, that's zesty. Coinbase Financial Markets seeks to make futures more accessible to retail crypto traders. Yeah, that's exactly what we need. More futures contracts. Now, guys, I've seen people get absolutely destroyed with futures, and I've seen a few people make a lot of money. I've seen more horror stories than I've seen wins, but if you are someone that can read charts and you have a good understanding of what, 100x leverage does for you, or if you're trying to decide what something's going to be worth in the future in the next couple months, if you have that power, more power to you. CFM is pleased to announce that Coinbase Advanced customers in the U.S. can now access regulated crypto futures contracts, but these futures contracts are specifically sized for retail traders at 1/100th of a Bitcoin and 1/10th of an Ethereum. Futures provide traders with the ability to hedge their risk, diversify their portfolios, trade with leverage. There you go. Trade with leverage. And speculate on which way the market will go, either up or down. All right. Just understand too, guys, when you're trading like a lot of money and leverage too, you're usually trading against machines. Okay. And especially now in the crypto market, you have big companies that do machine learning and trading through, AI and different specs. So you're never going to be better than the machine. Just some thought. Okay. So just be careful when you decide to do this. I'm not going to get into more because this will be a Coinbase ad, but that's now availability for US traders on Coinbase. All right, we did talk about this a little bit last week, but if you weren't here, PAPS, Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, cross-border, the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, also known as PAPS, one of the operational instruments of the African Continent Free Trade Area, was developed by the Africa Export-Import Bank, Aframix Bank, to enhance cross-border trade between African countries by promoting the ease of financial transactions through the use of local currencies. PAPS is a centralized digital payment and settlement infrastructure that works in collaborations with African central banks to facilitate the efficient conduct of cross-border trade and commerce by enabling companies to clear and settle intra-African trade transactions for goods and services with local currencies.
Introducing PAPS, the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, supported by Afrexim Bank, the African Union, and the AfCFTA, that's connecting cross-border payments in Africa today, linking banks, payment service providers, governments and fintechs, making intra-African trade faster, more affordable, more inclusive, and supporting our shared vision to be one unified market under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, overcoming the fragmentation that created new borders, hampering intra-African trade for generations. With PAP's digital capability, you can reap the rewards of this transformation by enabling your clients' cross-border payments to be instant and cost-efficient, with transactions initiated and settled in local currencies, fully secure with best-in-class ISO 222 encoding, and totally transparent with enhanced analytics for better informed decision-making. If you're ready to extend your reach across Africa and accelerate trade across borders for you and your clients, it's time to connect to PAPS. Connecting payments, accelerating Africa's trade. Discover what PAPS can do for you.
And just really quickly, MFS Africa is now a new name, but is connected into POPs too. So actually, you can use XRP in this ecosystem. I just wanted to point that out. Really quickly, I wanted to identify one thing. Sonny Bloomberg said it's not naive. Let me just look this person up really quickly, because I wanted to make sure that if I was talking about this person, that what's it called? Let me just pull this up real quick. So the guy's name is Naiberko. Let me see. I probably said his name wrong. Anyways, yeah, this is the guy, man. He owns a media company. This is how he came to power. Here you go. Media machine, bro. I knew I was talking about the right person. Propaganda and fear stoke Burkel's media machine in El Salvador. President Aaron Burkel has built a communications juggernaut in El Salvador. Its engine paid internet trolls whose online attackers and endangering journalists and political opponents. 100%, that guy built just a fierce machine, and I was right about that. All right, but yeah, if you didn't know that, now you do. But that's kind of how you have to stay in power, right? You have to be able to control the narrative at all times. Committee of the UK Parliament has a paper on its website educating citizens about Ripple and its technology. I thought that was fun, right? Committees-parliament-UK, written audience, Ripple, written evidence, CDC 0034, Central Bank Digital Currencies Inquiry. I just thought this was kind of a fun thing to point out. Ripple Labs contributed to a support and submission made by the Digital Pound Foundation, on which we are a member in response to this inquiry. So, and then an introduction to Ripple. I thought that's fun. I also have Casper here. The lack of interoperability can hinder various parts of the financial industry, creating inefficiencies and increasing the risk of errors and delays. Let me play this.
There are two fundamental problems that exist as it relates to the capital markets infrastructure. One is a lack of integrated logic and lack of interoperability. The solutions that exist in the market space predominantly are focused on a very different problem, which is real-world assets. We focus on financial contracts. These are sophisticated financial instruments that require a unique design, a unique technology to essentially enable the tokenization of them. Integrated logic and interoperability are what we solve.
Yeah, GG FaxVet was talking about how Ripple is, has legal clarity. Yeah, I mean the DIFC legal clarity that they just got for the what is it? The Dubai. Was it DIFC Ripple? This is the Dubai Financial Center, right? Ripple announces approval. U.S. Dubai finances. Yeah. So this is a big deal. We talked about this actually last chat, and this is a very big deal. The DFSA. Dubai Financial Services Authority, right? And so some of the biggest banks, insurance companies in the world are in the DFSA. So Dubai International Finance Center, DFIC, excuse me. So that's exciting, and they do have more legal clarity than any other token that in the world, right? I mean. XRP has the most clarity. It has clarity in the United States, has now the clarity there, has clarity in the UK, has clarity in Hong Kong. I mean, it has clarity everywhere. Fam, this is Mike acting comptroller of currency in the U.S. on crypto versus tokenization. I thought this was really interesting. We're almost done here, guys. I know it's gone a little bit long today, but we're almost done.
Well, on that point of trust and I guess the proliferation of, the number of players in the banking system that aren't necessarily banks, there's also, as you know, a big movement to sort of create different modes of currency, different modes of payment here, particularly when it comes to crypto, which of course has had its own issues over the last year. We still have not gotten the formal regulation. I know that's not necessarily on your shoulders, so you should maybe go talk to Gary and a couple other people to see where they stand. But is there a solution, I guess, to the problem that I feel like crypto itself kind of created?
Yeah. So in my travels over the past year or so, and I talked to financial institutions, technology firms, other regulators globally. Whenever this comes up, something I have really, it's really emerged. There seems to be more and more of a divide between crypto on the one hand and tokenization of real world assets and liabilities on the other hand.
Yep.
What do I mean by that? Well, with crypto, that's the usual stuff that is reported in the press, and it's what basically shot up and then crashed. That's the crypto world. It's retail focused, largely, and it tends to be driven by the hope for speculative gain.
Yep, 100%.
That seems to be the main kind of fuel and interest in crypto, is that maybe I can make some money by investing in X, Y, or Z, a particular coin. It still remains replete with fraud, scams, and hacks. And some of the largest players remain unregulated. Crypto. Tokenization. What is tokenization about? Tokenization is focused on solving an actual problem, and that problem is settlement. Right? This is boring back office stuff, but it's super, super important. Every time you buy a security, every time you transfer money, there's a bunch of actions that happen in the background with regards to settling that transaction. And it seems invisible, but to those in the know, it involves a bunch of different players with a bunch of different handoffs. There's risks, there's frictions, there's fees. Tokenization holds the promise to collapse that and to simplify it if it's done right. And so when I talk to folks, there's increasing interest in tokenization because it solves a problem, and less interest on crypto. It's just like crypto is there's just so many problems with it. It's hard to comply with BSA and other laws. Whereas tokenization, if done right, you can really, that holds a lot of promise. The OCC, we're hosting a conference, a symposium in February on tokenization, where it's really going to be focused on legal rights, legal foundations, risk management foundations. Like, we want to establish, if you have good foundations, then that can grow and you get some really good responsible innovation out of it.
You mentioned the Bank Secrecy Act, and obviously it goes into this whole idea of know your customer here. I thought, if you believe the crypto faithful, or I should probably say more the blockchain faithful, the blockchain was supposed to address a lot of those issues. The idea was that it was a public ledger. There was some traceability here. What are the flaws there that you think need to be addressed through more regulation?
Sure. So at the risk of, this audience will get this. So with the blockchain, there's the public ledger. You get the wallet address. You don't know who that is. That's the fundamental problem. And there are all sorts of techniques to try to intuit or guess as to which wallet address belongs to whom. In some cases, you can make that transparent. But that's a fundamental challenge with the publicly permissioned blockchains. A lot of the tokenization efforts that I've seen are private. And in those private environments, you know exactly who you're dealing with. And you can apply all the KYC. So again, And I think the reason why this tokenization, there's interest in tokenization is starting to take off because it's a very clear problem for which you can try to provide solutions. And the solutions may or may not involve a blockchain. A lot of these solutions don't involve a distributed ledger in the way people understand it. It uses different techniques. It's kind of, we're technology agnostic, solve the problem, do it safe, sound, and fair. I think in the crypto space, there still continues to be we have this tool, we want to do stuff with this tool versus what's the problem that they're trying to solve.
Would tokenization, though, still require banks to act as an intermediary? Would it still require, I guess, some degree of counterparty risk?
It depends. It depends on how they design it. And again, we don't have a strong view other than that development be done in a safe, sound, and fair manner, and we have some line of sight into that. That's our primary interest.
I've heard one of the criticisms towards regulators on this issue is the idea that know your customer should be different from know your transaction. And there have been a lot of folks in that space who've said that you can identify the transaction, have that transparency on that side, while still, I guess, providing them some degree of anonymity, which is what some of those folks want.
Yeah, so I think there are some interesting efforts in this KYC space, and I think that it's an area where some innovation in terms of being able to achieve the policy objective, which is, why do we want to know the customers? Because we want to make sure we've got mechanisms to prevent illicit finance, terrorist financing. That's a really important goal. It's a law. It has criminal liability with it, so we don't want to mess around with that. We have to achieve that. Are there other ways of achieving it using some of the new techniques that are out there? We're open, right? We're open to understanding and exploring those, but not at the cost of not meeting that objective.
All right.
That is a very, very interesting clip. And I mean, depending on how you feel about what this gentleman just said, but he's talking about different use cases that I guess don't involve blockchain settlement. I don't know. The hardest part you're going to find with some of these technologies is liquidity, right? If you're going to be settling value and moving value, you need massive amounts of liquidity, right? And that is why some of these banks and these companies like Ripple, right, and the use of the XRP token, right? And so I think it's a fine balance that you're going to have to play. But as you can see, this is the comp controller of currency in the United States, and he's bullish on tokenization of real-world assets, but he's not very bullish on crypto itself, right? And what he said there about we're still in a speculation market, he's right? That's what we're doing here. Is we're constantly speculating on what things we think are going to go up, what things are going to have future value, and that really sets the market right now. All right. Crypto.XRP put this out, and we're almost done, guys. Just a couple more things, and I'll get you out of here. I had this article in my back pocket for 4 years. SBI CEO, representing the largest outside shareholder of Ripple, was interviewed on February 19th. He stated that he thought XRP would become the #1 crypto asset among all, and they were moving towards that goal. With our newfound legal clarity, this goal is more possible than ever. Note, SBI does utilize the digital asset XRP for a variety of ways, including as a bridge currency. They also embrace ERC20 tokens with their R3 Japan joint venture, but it stands out to me that SBI mines Bitcoin up to 3% of BTC globally. So interesting, right? Very, very interesting. Man, if you had billions of dollars today, you could make a lot more money in the future, right? It takes money to make money. More Ripple coverage in the MENA region. I imagine that Swell in Dubai will see more Al-Kabas, and Arabic Daily covers RippleNet with a quote from the Tariq Al-Aljil and digital strategy development lead for Kuwait Finance House Bank. Several regions worldwide with 430 branches. Wow. So, man, it's good to see. Ripple's kind of at the forefront of this in this part of the world. We did talk about JP Morgan already. All right, I think that's about it. Yeah, we just have this last thing from Mr. Mann. Market Infrastructure Board, MIB, concluded that the current planning for April 2024 go-live date does not provide sufficient reassurance for a successful deployment, and thereof a rescheduling is advisable. The MIB considered November 2024 as a preferred option for a new go-live date. And so this is during the Market Infrastructure Board, MIB meeting in 27-28, September 23. the ECMS, the Euro System Collateral Management System, feasibility of go live plan and review. So looks like it's not just SEPA that's having maybe these issues and delays. It'll be interesting to see if things actually go live. Certain things around ISO go live on the 19th. I have not heard anything about Swift or JP Morgan or BNY Mellon or any of these bigger conglomerates not taking that first dive into ISO on the 19th. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Any questions? I know we just went through 2 hours of information. I know there's 54 of you still watching. There's a lot of information to go over in one chat. These usually, don't usually go 2 hours, but there's a lot to get to. And so, I hope you guys had fun. What's up, CH Moss? Great to see you, man. Great to see you. Dual Citizen, thank you for being here, man. I haven't seen you in some time, so great to see you. Did you used to be in Cryptonairz? Is that why your name's so familiar? Or do I just see you in chats? I can't remember, but great to see you. Web3 Me, great to see you. Welcome. It's first time being here. Welcome, man. We talk, or woman, I don't know. We talk a lot about crypto, XRP, Ripple. We talk a little bit of XLM, XEC, Casper, and some other assets every now and then. But I am a very, very big fan of Ripple and XRP and XTC. Thanks, Ariana. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. And you've been here the whole time, so gold star. I really do appreciate you. I hope you learned something today. And take a look at that list of projects we put out in Cryptonairz and Alpha Sensei. There's a list of really great projects. We put it all together for you guys. So I think there's about 17 or 18 crypto and AI projects that I think are going to do pretty well over the next 12 months. So take a look at those. DC, what's up, DC? How you doing? Mate, are you from UK or are you from Australia? Usually those two kind of go together. Either which one. I want to guess. I'm thinking like the UK, but I could be wrong. Good to see you, DC. Anybody have any questions about the market or want to talk about anything before I jump off? Have some lunch. Supposedly 4K. What do you think the price of XRP is going to go to 4K or what? What are we talking about? Is that the UK? The flag is so small. Yeah, I got it. Yes, love it. I love it. Love it. GG Fax Vet, what are you talking about 4K? Are we talking about the resolution on our TVs or are we talking about the price of something? If we're talking about the price of XRP, man, I would love $100, let alone $4,000, but who knows? I mean, we do realize how much value needs to be transacted and actually be on the ledger for us to get to a price like that, right? I mean, it's trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. So, the likelihood of us getting there in the next couple months, it would be just a gigantic shock to the system. I mean, it would be crazy. What's up, Jonathan Cruz? Say hi back, please. Good to see you, man. Thanks for being here. Jonathan's like, somebody talk to me, please. I need it. But no, I mean, if you have a circulating supply, 50 billion tokens, 45 billion tokens, I mean, you played around with the AI tools and have them do the math for you. I mean, it's a lot, right? Let me see. You'd have to have a really low circulating supply. If the circulating supply of XRP was under 10%, which is 10 billion tokens, and the price, and how do I even word this? The circulating supply of XRP was under 10%, which is 10 billion tokens, and there was $100 trillion worth of assets, which is an astronomical number of assets. Maybe I'll start with something smaller, but let's say it's 20 trillion, just to keep it at a nice number. $20 trillion added to the ledger. What would the price of XRP be? I mean, there's so many things that go into this, right? Circulating supply, $2 million. That's not right. That's not right. I mean, think about it. I mean, see, this is why I don't like AI tools, and just why doing this on the spot sometimes doesn't work out. But And ChatGPT doesn't have the let's just pull it up. Let's just pull this up, because you would have to have just ridiculous. So it says circulating supply 53 billion. Okay, so if the circulating supply of XRP is 50 billion and the XRPL is used to hold 20 trillion in value, what would the price of XRP need to be? You need circulating supply, you need daily volume on that. Man, ChatGPT is just not working, bro. Because this doesn't make sense at all, right? Because $1 trillion with 50 billion, I mean, that's $20, right? And you just do that 20 times. I mean, you're not talking about 40. Anyways, trying to make a point here, and using ChatGPT was not a good way to do this. Not a good way to do this. Utilization has not experimented in our face. They know. Hey, I would love to see XRP at a high price. I just think we just need to be realistic. You're talking about just a mass adoption in like happening in just like a day or two, and it'll happen one day, but I just don't think we're quite there yet. I don't think we're quite there. If the DTCC goes live and starts using XRP to move all of that value, and if the entire financial system had to go onto blockchain tomorrow, and the XRP ledger captured a lot of that value, yes, I could see it. But in the current state that we are right now, with the financial system still, we're going to be in a recession probably in 24, 25, especially in the United States. I don't think they reset the financial system yet. I think they kick the can down the road. I think they drop rates. I think they print a shit ton more money. And they kick the can down the road till the next president, whether that's Trump or Biden again. I don't know. But I just don't think we're there yet. Why do you challenge Crypto Bellwether to a live debate on XRP? If you're so sure about XRP, then shut him up. I have no idea who that is, Rombo. Crypto Bellwether. Okay, let's take a look. Crypto Bellwether. I mean, if I had to challenge every single person that hates XRP, man, I would have no life.
Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode.
Uncle Ray. I like it. Okay. So he doesn't like XRP, huh? 7 layers to outperform XRP easily. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, man. I mean, Doge Chain is a rug pull. I like this guy. You know what, man? Like, I could send him a message and we could have a conversation about XRP and adoption and CBDCs. The thing. So here, check this out. And not to keep this conversation going on too long, but how many CBDC projects are there in the world that are working with Ripple, right? James Wallace has gone on to say there's over 30 different central bank tests being done, either tests or actual, launches like the pullout, right? US dollar stablecoin actually built on the public XRP ledger. I think that is a test for the United States to look at how a digital dollar performs in an economy, right? What happens when Ripple ends up, those partnerships are not just pilots anymore, and those are actually world use cases, and they're actually being used by the UK, Japan, probably the United States, and all these other countries. What value does that bring to the XRP ledger, right? And you sure as shit is not going to be Ethereum. It's not going to be Bitcoin, right? XRP makes the most sense, right? And that's why it's being tested on such a large scale. But we don't know when that adoption cycle will hit, right? That we're still in the test phase. So are there going to be other tokens that outperform XRP in the short term? Yeah, sure. I believe it. But if we're talking down the road, several years, I just think XRP has the biggest shot to be the biggest crypto in the world, personally. I personally believe that. That's why I spend so much time researching the news and trying to deliver the news to you. You had them on the ISO standards body, right? You had them working with the U.S. federal government since like 2015. You know, they've been working with the Treasury in the UK, Bank of England. You know, it doesn't get too bigger than those two economies, right? And when you can bring those two together and on the same technology, Japan and Australia, those two countries will follow, right? A lot of the BRICS countries will want to use something like XRP. You have, you know, Buna, which is a payment system in the Middle East and Africa, right? That's connected back to XRP. I think a lot of the world's value will run on XRP. I don't think all of it will. Nothing will capture all of the world's value, but I think XRP captures a lot of that value. Companies, businesses, they're going to want instant settlement, and they're going to want to pay pennies to do that settlement. That's just the system that we're moving into. They're going to be able to make more money to do those type of things, and I just think that's where we're heading. He isn't a jerk. Yeah, he seems like a nice guy. Just watch his video. I'll definitely watch his video, and I'll reach out to him and see if he wants to have a conversation. I'd love to do that. Let's see here. Man, we hit 15,100 subscribers. That was pretty quick, man. We just hit 15,000. Now we got an extra 100. Thank you, guys. I missed your AI gaming section. Chris, let me just show you real quick so you don't have to, I mean, I kind of want you to go back into the chat, but we talked about a couple different projects here. We talked about Ori Chain. All right. Ori is actually really cool, enabling layer 1 verify multi-dimensional trustworthiness of AI to build Web3 applications. We talked about Big Time. This is a pretty big game that's you know, I think could be big in this space. And we talked about what a you know, multi-billion-dollar game could look like in the space. Render, which is actually a really cool project. Distributed GPU rendering on the blockchain, and we talked about Oasis. There's a lot more than that. I can't bring every single thing I talk about or we talk about in the Cryptonairz Discord and put it on YouTube for free, because then everybody in the community wouldn't find value there anymore. Even though you have a lot of really amazing people working together and sharing information, and you know, hey, you know, if some people find value in that. Rombo, I will take a look, my friend. I promise you, I will take a look. Let me get some food, and. Yeah, I'll reach out to him. He looks like an interesting fellow. Looks like an interesting fellow. I would rather own XRP than Bitcoin any day, right? Sure, you have Bitcoin ETFs that are happening right now, but you're gonna have XRP ETF soon enough, right? So I don't know. I just think there's more value. There was an XRP calculator that was published by Ripple, Stanford, I believe. This was a paper. It was based on a paper, the valuation framework in crypto. MMT, where is that? Where is that paper? Hold on. Let's go Bard. Sometimes Bard can find things ChatGPT can't. 1 second. Ripple and Stanford. What did they do? They wrote a paper with an XRP calculator. Can you find that paper? Yes, I found the paper's talent and XRP calculator across the. Okay, let me go ahead and here's the link. Oh, see, you gotta love AI. See how quick that was? All right. Oh, but this is your investment, your profit, market cap, circulating supply, total supply, 24-hour volume. Okay, investment fee. But see, this is not going to help me if I need to look up like how much value is being transacted each day on the ledger and how much what's called. Is this the right calculator, MMT? Yeah, this might not be the same calculator. I don't think that's the right one. Yeah, if you find it, tell me in Cryptonairz. I'll pull it up real quick. Hold on, let me see. Stanford, and Ripple XRP calculator. Let's see. Unbanked Freedom. No, that doesn't look official. Hold on. Unbankedfreedom.com calculator. Crypto accountant. That looks like it's a calculator, but I don't know if it's. Is this it? Yeah, if you can send me the actual real calculator, because it'd be nice to Oh, Multiver membership is 100,000% worth it, or 1,000% worth it. Great community, friendly people. I highly recommend it. Thank you, Multiver. Yeah, guys, you can check us out at Cryptonairz.com. You know, it all depends where you want to grow, right? And if you want to find value in the community, that's a community that it's just filled with such good people, right? There's the community if you want to go take a look at it yourself. But yeah, it's hard to find a real calculator because you have to put in how much value is being transacted on the ledger and then how much value is stored on the ledger, right? And when you have CBDCs, when you have you know, private companies, right? When we talk about tokenized deposits, I mean, God, think about if the United States launched a digital dollar on a private XRP ledger, right? And how much value would that bring? In the short term, it wouldn't be a lot, right? But in the long term, right, especially if they got rid of paper money in 10, 20 years, whatever that is, I hope to be, you know, live long enough to see where money's in museums, right? How, you know, we go to the museums today and look at gold and silver coins, you know, created by the Romans and whatever else. You're going to, same thing like that. It's going to be like, you know, the people back in the 21st century love paper money, you know, and they'll laugh at us, right? And it'll be the same thing. But when you bring all of that value, right? What's the M2 money supply? Look at this. Here you go. So this is in trillions, okay? Money, banking, finance, M2 money supply. This is how much money, just below 21 trillion, okay? So I posted in Cryptonairz. I love you. Man, I love you. Oh, it was that one. Okay, so it was actually the one that was showing the top. So let's take a look at this. Let's see if we can actually plug in the right things that we need to do here. As I get a virus and my whole thing shuts down. No. I wonder why this won't load. Will it load for you, MMT? Let me try Safari. Oh, here we go. I was just impatient. Okay. To estimate daily transaction volume. All right, so you got Swift's 5 trillion a day. Let's just use 10 trillion a day. We're going to use low numbers, guys, right? Average time in days between transactions per 1 XRP. Suggested 0.05. Average time in days between transactions per XRP. I mean, can't you reuse XRP every 3 to 5 seconds, right? I'm just going to leave this on 0.5, I guess, shortest time. Store of value in US dollar in trillions. Let's use the money supply. Duration at which above volumes are estimated to be reached in years. Duration at which above volumes are estimated to be reached. I mean, why does that matter? I mean, 3 years, I guess. Calculating the supply of XRP above the duration in billions. So what do you want to set max supply at? There are some suggestions at the bottom of the page. Daily transactions in trillions. Total estimated daily transactions volumes in the trillions US dollars as partnerships are announced or anticipated. Take expected proportion of daily transaction volume that will be bridged by XRP. Average time in days between transactions per 1 XRP. This is the average days elapsed before 1 XRP is transacted. For example, if you hold XRP for 1 year, this value will be 365 days. However, banks will potentially transact a single XRP multiple times a day potentially in order. Yeah, that's hard to. It's hard to find this downtime. I think we need to play with this a lot. Store of value in USD in trillions. Okay. Duration at which 1 volumes are estimated. I mean, we're just going to have to play around with this, I think. Circulating supply. Now, this is a tough situation because, like, what happens? You wake up tomorrow and a lot of the supply is bought off the exchanges, right? I mean, let's just use 50 billion, I guess, just to calculate this. Interest rate to discount from this duration to present time, percent whole number. Man, I'm going to have to play around this. $431. Interesting. Now, average time in days between transactions per 1 XRP. Man, this thing can screw this whole thing up. Just bringing this down to 0.1, it brings the value down. So you'd have to get to like a very low circulating supply. Like you'd have to have XRP locked up in contracts and doing different things to really kind of get this going. But real estate market is $300 trillion globally. Let's just do 100 trillion. I mean, you could play around with this all day long and just put it, but it doesn't really kind of encompass. We would really need to identify what to put here. MMT. Let's play around with this week inside of Cryptonairz, and maybe we can find some interesting things. I don't want to spend too much time on here. We've been 2 hours and 15 minutes. There are some suggestions. Yeah, appreciate that. All right, guys. Hey, I'm going to. I think it would require understanding the paper they wrote linked at the top. Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, let me share this in the community so people can actually research this themselves today if they want to do this. And let me research it so I know what I'm doing, so I don't look like it's been 2 hours. I don't look like I don't know what I'm doing here. So here's the calculator and here's the paper. All right. If you want to take a look at this and play around with it, bring some of your calculations next time we do this. I have a dentist appointment on Thursday. I'm hoping my mouth doesn't hurt on Friday. If we're good, I'll probably do Sensei Chat on Friday. If not, I'll probably do it on Saturday. So look out on Thursday for that day, which I'm going to do it. I'll obviously let you guys know once I figure it out on Thursday with my dentist. But yeah, let's play around with this and we'll see what we can come up with. I appreciate each and every one of you for your time. It's always been an honor to spend this time with you to learn and grow in the crypto space. I hope you guys all have a blessed day. Thank you so much. Have a good one. I'll see you next time. Okay. Aloha. All right, Luna.